Yeah.
So let's talk about AEW Dynamite last thing, because I don't, from the way you sound, I think we're going to differ on this opening segment. Okay.
All right.
Well, no, actually, we may not differ on the opening segment. Okay. Well, actually, I actually doubt we're going to differ on this, because I've seen a lot of people echoing the same thing, and I think there was a big problem with this first segment. All right.
All right.
So John Moxley comes out. He took his sweet time getting in the ring in Chicago, gave him a bit of a mixed reaction. CM Punk chants broke out, and Moxley soaked in for a moment and smiled. The counter chain of Moxley started, and John thinks they're still mopping CM Punk off the mat in Cleveland. He said he heard one Punk styled. He said he heard Punk styled as the modern 60-minute man, but that turned out to be a load of crap. He said that he had 57 minutes left in Pin last week, and Punk asked Punk, "Did you?" Mox said we learned last week what Punk was made of. He claimed Punk took his best shots and realized Mox wasn't going to stop coming at him, and he looked for a way out. Mox claimed he looked for a way out and claimed his foot hurt so he could fold. He then said champions don't fold, and he's sorry that Punk didn't turn out to be everyone who thought he was. He said the Punk has a fragile ego, fragile body, weak mind, and weak spirit. That was a very good line. He said it was a tough business, and it is what it is, and we move on. After pulling a contract out of his pocket, Moxley said when he says anytime, anywhere, he means it. He said it could be anybody, including some from New Japan. And he asked Rocky if he had anybody left, and he addressed whoever. So he pulled a contract out, basically an open challenge. He addressed whoever signed the contract and said he knows he gives fewer than they do. He is a human embodiment of the spirit of professional wrestling with an indomitable will. And Moxley said wrestling him could be hazardous to your health, and said he'd see somebody on Sunday. Moxley then fired up the crowd to his music and left the ring. Wardlow's music hits to a huge pop, and Wardlow comes out and grabs the contract, but then Punk comes out and said that I'm lying there. But I got to make a point here. Bro, they took the contract out and he laid it in the ring. And what did like a minute go by? Where there was a period of time where if you're a fan, I know you were thinking this too, I was thinking this, I see fans online are thinking this, I think even Dave talked about this. Like, bro, not one person came out of the locker room for that contract. And I'm like, that was a problematic look, because everybody, I was thinking, was going through their mind, nobody wants to win the world title here? And I was just thinking, okay, so then the time goes by, so then Ace Steel, that guy comes to the ring and grabs a contract and walks to the back. Okay, now I loved Moxley's promo. That was a good shooting, a half shoot type, good verbiage. He buried Punk. Bro, he's a very smooth talker on the mic. You know, there's a really good promo, right? But bro, when he put the contract down, as a booker, if that was the angle, like there are so many other ways you could have written this show based on what he just did. Like okay, who wants to win this, or who wants to fight me? And nobody coming out, I thought it kind of like buried because here was a problem. Who were you thinking in your mind? And there's a problem they have. They have a problem, like, you know, when you talk about star power stuff, everything. Who would have come out, would have walked out that thing and grabbed that contract?
Hangman Page.
Okay, that's one.
Brian.
2. Wardlow.
Yeah.
3.
Maybe Adam Cole coming back. I don't know if he's whatever.
Bro,
yeah.
You could have done a deal where, like, okay, this is up the thing. All right, get some of your main players.
Okada.
And they come out and they're all right, and then it's like, wait a second, like,
okay, why do you laugh at that, Joe? Do you think that was funny?
Yeah, because that's usually their surprise is usually a New Japan guy. So
right,
no, that wasn't funny.
I'm sorry.
All right, Konnan, what did you think of this? Are you thinking the same way I was thinking?
I just thought, bro, why didn't you bring Hangman Page? But there's a reason why Cole came out, and that was explained later. So I was okay with it because I got a payoff later. Now, when Ace Steel first came out, I was like, who? Right. Did they even explain who he was, or did we have to wait till Punk said, "This is my trainer"?
No, they explained it.
Okay. But let me just say about the promo. This was a real good promo.
Right.
Full of emotion and passion, and the people were into it. They were cheering and booing. This is the one thing I'm loving about these two right now. I like how him and Punk are teetering between face and heel and not trying to be one or the other, which gives the character depth and an added dimension that is missing in today's superstars. This, to me, was a great way to kick off the show, and I agree with you. Kudos to especially 2 lines. He didn't turn out to be anything we wanted him to be when we welcomed him back, which is what I've been saying, right?
Right.
And the fragile ego, body, all that.
Right. Fragile mind, weak spirit.
Bro, that was a great line. That was a great.
And him saying, bro, you kicked me as hard as you could, and I ate it, so you acted like you were hurt to get out of the match.
Right.
So it's just like,
that was great.
That is stuff that like a shoot fighter would have said if something like if he was
so
it was good.
Just the same way like Kevin Owens has been bringing a lot of reality, and like what Riddle did with Seth Rollins.
Right.
They're doing it in their own way, and I'm hooked. I like it because I can't wait for Moxley and him to talk now.
Right. So this is going to create it's also a narrative that I want to talk about throughout the show when we talk about this, that like guys that are in wrestling today, okay, that can act on both shows have been doing very good content.
Right.
But what it also is doing, and we'll talk about this coming up, is highlighting the people that can't act.
Right.
And like how they stick out like a sore thumb. So we'll get to that here. Let's get to the next.
Well, in the very next segment.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Right.
So, okay. Backstage, Chris Jericho was talking with Tony Schiavone. He said the match this weekend is a dream match, but a nightmare for Danielson. Jericho said he thought about what Danielson said last week, and he thinks the Hearts may be impressed by his wrestling skill, but they'd be far more impressed with his career accomplishment. Daniel Garcia approached Jericho and apologized for being immature last week. He pledged his allegiance to the Jericho Appreciation Society. He said that he knew Jericho would defeat Danielson on Sunday. Jericho accepted his apology and told Danielson that all is fair in wrestling and romance, so he should watch his back. I'll let you take this.
Well, here's the thing, bro. I'm kind of confused because first you're with Jericho bearing Danielson, then you turn on Jericho, then you come back and apologize. I mean, he seemed very disingenuous. He's not a really good actor.
Right.
Jericho's the man. I mean, Jericho's just in a league by himself. His accomplishments, he's still looking great. I'd hit it. I like the little fringe jacket he's wearing that's kind of like see-through negligee type deal. But, Daniel's not that convincing, and he's not ready for the role they're giving him. I think they're pushing him too quick.
Like I said, his acting's not good enough.
Yeah, that too.
He doesn't know. When you're green, it's like, and for example, this guy's been in business for 2 years, right?
Right.
When we started doing backstage segments at WCW and like interviews, you get better as you go along. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like the backstage segments, when we started doing them, you're getting scripted lines, just you're trying to deliver them but then you get comfortable and everybody comes across as very comfortable. He doesn't look comfortable at all.
Yeah, and don't give him long. And if he isn't confident yet, if he isn't ready yet, give him small lines.
Right. Because like this angle requires a lot of good acting and facial expressions.
Right.
And so, like for example, like Sami Zayn's character, the gimmick he's going through requires a lot of acting, facial, just like emotion, and like Daniel Garcia doesn't look like he's like the type, and Wheeler Utah too. Right. They stick out like a sore. That's the thing. These guys stick out like sore thumbs when they're around a bunch of seasoned vets. Right. Like doing the content. So, but so whatever. But like Jericho saved it. So yeah. Okay, so then we go to Bryan Danielson against Jake Hager, and this was what it was. We knew Danielson would go over, but they were trying to do bro, these guys are trying to do this. They're trying to do like shoot UFC style submission stuff and everything, and it doesn't look snug enough. You know what I'm saying? Like the elbows that they're doing, like it just, I don't know. What do you think? Danielson went over, but
Well, I just thought it was a good match, but you knew Hager was taking the L, so you're like already kind of like, okay.
Right. It's 11 minutes. You didn't need 11 minutes when you knew. Right. Eight minutes would have been.
Bro, I hate to say this because he's such a cool guy, but he has Mike Pence level charisma, which is none. He has no connection with the crowd, and that really hurts him.
Right. Yeah, he doesn't acknowledge the crowd at all. Yeah.
Like there was a part in the match where they were booing him, but they were booing him because it's Bryan Danielson, not because he has heat. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Well, Jack was never like a smart favorite, so that's not his crowd either.
Well, it doesn't matter. You don't got to be a smart to see the guy's not connecting. He has no interaction. He has no charisma. You know. So I mean, I don't know. What you're talking about.
Okay, so after the match, Matt Menard and Angelo Parker ran down to wear out Danielson. I love our 2.0 guys from
good
NXT.
Punches, man.
I like these guys. Punches were not good.
No?
Guys, you
I thought him on top punching him in the head. It looked real good.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
He was missing him by like 6 inches.
Maybe
he was punching him in the. Watch it again. Yeah. He was punching him in the shoulders. These were not. I don't know. The camera did not help them out because the direct shot you just see like whatever. So the Wheeler Yuta and Claudio make the save, and Jericho attempted to hit Danielson with the chair, but he was stopped by Daniel Garcia. Then Danielson took advantage and landed a big flying knee and gave Garcia sarcastic thanks as he walked away. So they're
right. Well, that's
at least this is still episodic story.
Yeah, but I'm still confused because he went over there and he said, "I'm in the Jericho Society," right?
Right.
Then he goes and he takes the chair away. So are you with me or not?
Right. The deal was if that was the angle they were doing, okay, bro, he should have grabbed the chair. Jericho holds Danielson up and he goes to hit him with the chair. Danielson moves the other way and Garcia nails Jericho with the chair.
Or just not gone up at all.
Would have been more congruent with the storyline that he was trying to tell, right?
But I'm like confused because, like I said again, let's take it from the top. He's in the Jericho Society. He insults Bryan Danielson as being a piece of Then he respects Bryan Danielson and bows down to him and shakes his hand and pushes Chris Jericho. Then he comes and tells Chris Jericho he's sorry and he's back in the club. Then he comes and he holds the chair. What the
Right.
We need some consistency
more logical
and be congruent with what you're doing. There's too many swerves.
Right.
And for unnecessary ones at that too.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Do you agree that this should have been like he goes to swing a chair?
Do you think I have a point?
Absolutely. And then, like I said, do you agree? Like the gimmick here should have been he goes to swing at one guy but hits one of his own guys.
Yeah, I don't think he even should have gone up into the ring and done anything.
Right.
Here, I'm going to acquiesce. Of course, you'll correct Disco, but I just want you guys to take a look at it real quick.
Right there. Yeah, hit me away to start out Dynamite tonight.
Because these first ones that he throws, I swore, I'm like, oh, he's throwing smoke. But when I rewatched it, no.
I like this guy. He always has the wide open.
Yeah, it's his elbow.
Look at him. Punch him in the elbow. That's my point.
Wow.
Yeah.
That totally absolutely fooled me.
Punches,
absolutely fooled me.
If they had a different camera angle, that would have been fine.
Yeah.
Because he was throwing him with smoke.
Yeah.
He was just missing him by this much, and the camera angle caught it.
Yeah.
So
they got me.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
Don't guys think camera's going to catch that?
Especially
it's incredible.
Right. All right. So this is. I don't why this was this next segment.
You know what this reminded me of? It reminded me of like what happened in Raw. There was no reason for those three superstars to go against three jobbers. No reason whatsoever, right? And here's the problem: you're trying to draw fans, and this is a channel changer, and you don't want people changing channels. Who would want to see this match knowing exactly what was going to happen against, three basically J-Brones? First of all, listen to the name.
Well, time out. You're going ahead. You're going ahead because we got to do this segment first.
Which one?
All right, because the segment you're talking about was after the women's match. All right, so here we go. The Wingmen, Ryan Nemeth, Peter.
That's what I'm talking about.
Well, this wasn't a match. They were in the JD Drake.
Kind of.
Okay, but bro, let me read it because you'll get the deal.
Yeah.
The Wingmen, Ryan Nemeth, Peter Avalon, Cesar Bonini, and JD Drake were in the ring, and they complained about not being booked. Yeah. Bro, these guys, to get the visual picture of this, everybody go back and watch.
What
this
is
segment.
the Wingmen supposed to mean?
They're all wingmen with each other. Bro, they were holding these signs up.
Wingman.
What are the signs?
Wingman's a guy that you take out, and he's gonna. He's gonna help you pick up girls.
Me and you were going out, and I'm picking up the hot girl. You're my wingman. You got to pick up. You got to help pick up.
Go for her friend. Go for her friend.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, is that the? Okay, so I guess. That's the guy that has to take a hit for the team, and usually has to date the girl that's holding everybody's purse.
Right.
But these guys, neither of them should be on TV except for me, Ryan Nemeth, because he looks good. But Peter Avalon, Cesar Bonini, and JD Drake especially. JD Drake's like a. Bro, he looks like
somebody's dad.
Right,
no, he looks like somebody's dad.
Right, or the fans' dads.
Right, he looks like Jade. What's that guy that shoots on Tony Schiavone? Adam Roy. He looks like he could be his dad.
All right, so they're all kind of terrible promo. So then Morrissey comes out, who's the old what's his name?
He looked great.
Big Cass.
Big Cass, right? So he comes out. He's got his shirt off. He looks fantastic. He dropped Bonini with a kick, delivered chokeslams to Nemeth and JD Drake, and there was a part in there where Peter Avalon, in the phoniest way, was going like, "Oh my god!" like acting so scared.
Yeah, doing the Ric Flair.
Bro, it's like these guys should not have been on TV. So he chokeslams him too. So then Stokely Hathaway walks out, and he hands him his business card, and they walk off together. Okay. So then Stokely Hathaway was approached by Schiavone and asked what all the business cards were about. And Stokely told him it was none of his business. And Tony said they run a TV show and it is his business. Then Stokely grabbed Tony and called him a jack. Tony called him a jack-off, and Stokely and Morrissey just walked away. What did you think of this segment?
I thought Kaz looked great. I thought
Right.
those other guys looked like straight J-Brones and got treated as such. So I was okay with that. And you're right. It wasn't a match. It was just more like a squash, more like a segment.
Right.
And you're presenting new talent. And you're not doing anything with these guys. They're a bunch of bums. So why not, do what they did?
Right.
So this was well done. But bro, again, I'm not hating. I'm just stating. But Stokely's so underwhelming, unentertaining, and again he comes out and he's recruiting people. Why would Cass go with this guy? What has he done, or what's on the card that he just walked away with him? You know what I'm saying? He's so unimpressive. And
then this is a go home for pay-per-view. This should not have been on the show. All right.
Yeah. Cass looked great here, though.
He did. He could have done this next week after the pay-per-view when you have the fan.
Or not done it at all. He doesn't need Stokely. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. So backstage, Will Ospreay was opposed by Don Callis, and he gave Ospreay some backhanded compliments, reminding him he was beaten by Omega last time they had a tag match together. But he sure would be different this time. But it was good seeing Don Callis on the show because he's always.
And Don was good here too. Yeah.
So Sheeta and Tony Storm against Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker. Did you watch this? I wasn't.
Yes, I did watch it.
I had it on, but I wasn't because I watched the show live and I wasn't paying attention to this. But basically, Sheet and Storm beat Britt Baker and Hayter in 6 minutes and 53 seconds. You get anything for this?
This was not a bad match. I'm not really into it because I'm not into any girl that was in this match.
Right.
But I don't get Sheeta, her push, or her gear. Her gear is very weird looking. It looks like she bought some genie pants, and as she fell asleep in the dressing room, somebody cut off one side, and then they told her, hey, you got to go to the ring, and it was too late to take them off, and she's just like wrestling with one part of the genie pant. Right. I don't know if they just push her because she's been there from the beginning, but Tony Storm should have gotten the win here. That's the marketable one,
right?
Not Sheeta. Right. I don't understand the deal here, why they're missing the boat on her.
Yeah.
There were some complaints online about JR saying that Sheeta has become more Americanized, and that upset a lot of internet fans.
Well, that's fine, because we
What's
have
wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with it. We have you have a bunch of Gen Zers and millennial fans, which are easily offended at anything, even if it was not. There shouldn't be any.
By insinuating that being Americanized is better than her being Japanese, I suppose.
Just like
how
Bill
is that
Maher
being
said,
insinuated? That just means she's being assimilated into our culture.
That's bad.
Perfect example. Bill Maher had a great line one time. Okay, he said, Gen Zers and millennials, you can't stop. You got to stop being more offended than the people that should be offended.
Right.
Which is exactly the case here, because I doubt Hikaru Shida would be offended at this at all. All right. So the next is you like this, Konnan? We had a video package for Kip Sabian, and he explained his master plan that he executed last week when he fooled Pac with a doppelganger. Pac said he had pestered him for the last time, and they will have an All-Atlantic Championship match on Sunday at All Out. What do you think?
This was all right. Nothing special. Yeah.
Right. I don't know. Like I said.
Not interested in this feud or Kip Sabian.
Adam Page has been off TV now for 3 weeks. I don't know why. You have all the
now
tools
imagine this, and I was kind of right. I always said Adam Page gives you good matches, but he shouldn't be the champion. And I almost felt like they gave him the championship because it was something they wanted to do at the beginning, and they finally got around to it. But, bro, you talk about a drop. What's he doing with the Dark Order? I mean, you went from being the world champion to now teaming up with these guys. And, again, nothing against these guys because I find John Silver highly entertaining. But why is the Dark Order still around?
Yeah, we'll get to that segment.
And here's another thing. Bro, get rid of the rankings. Like, I was looking at when Phoenix came out to wrestle, and he was like 63-30. It's like, really, dude?
And it's like I haven't seen him. I think he's bro. You're looking at 63-30, and it's like I can't recall this guy getting put over more than one time in like the past 5-6 months.
Right.
It's just like
he does get put over on Dark and the
right. Exactly.
Yeah.
But I'm watching Dynamite, and it's like
right.
I was 63.
He's always doing
I think I've seen him win one time. Right. Exactly. Yeah. Okay. So all right. So this is a video package here with Miro. He ranted about his God conspiring with the demons in the House of Black, and Miro will take on the House of Black with Sting and Darby, or at least that's how it appeared because they were in the promo too. I like Miro's content on these promos, but this is getting very repetitive. That's all he's doing is cutting the same. They need to do. They could have done something else here. They could have done. They could have done something in the ring with the characters for this match than doing the Cesar.
Gotten a big pop.
Yeah. So in the arena, Punk comes out. He looks dejected and had a microphone. He recalled breaking his foot on June 1st, and that was bad enough, but then wrestled a match on it and pulverized it. So he had 3 plates and 16 screws in his foot, and he said that was 16. So this is funny. Some fat guy started a Colt Cabana chant. Okay, did you see this line? Because that's what triggered him here. He said that was 16 times more times than some fat guy in the crowd has been screwed in his life.
Yeah, which got a pop.
We got a pop because we're in Chicago. Bro, he's going to get,
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about this after this segment, okay? But I got a theory here. Punk said he probably shouldn't have said that, and he shouldn't have done a lot of things, including coming back too early from a very serious injury. He said he got beat up in Cleveland last week and then had to drive home with his thoughts, and he posed a question if his foot is 100%, and he said yes. All right, I guess we're going to take him on his word. He said it was cleared by his doctors and the x-rays look good. He said it's a new 100% and not sure if that is good enough. Punk said he came back to wrestling last year because he loved wrestling, but the business doesn't always love him back. He said he also came back because he loves his fans, and it hurts him to feel like he let everybody down. He pointed out his sister in the front row and broke down a little and explained that he loved her, but maybe that's good enough. That's not good enough either. So Ace Steel, who walked out and said this is what they talked about him saying, said this is not what they talked about him saying backstage. Ace introduced himself as Punk's trainer from day one and called Punk his greatest accomplishment and said they were family and he didn't let his family or Chicago down. Steel gave Punk his own words and told him it's not how many times you get knocked down, it's how many times you get back up. He then slapped Punk across the face and handed him the contract and told him to sign it. Punk snapped out of it and grabbed the microphone. He said he was born with the cord around his neck because they've been trying to kill him since day one, but they haven't found the man to do it yet, and Moxley isn't that man. Punk went in the crowd and said Chicago was hang on, I just missed my spot. Punk went in the crowd and said Chicago is where the weak are eaten alive. He said Moxley can't break his bones or drink his blood because we are Chicago. He then signed the contract, told Moxley he would see him on Sunday, and he celebrated with the crowd. I'm going to get to what you thought of this first, and I'm going to give you my thoughts.
I cut this promo into 2 parts. The first part, when Punk came out, was not that good. It was like
he was dejected and sad. Like he was trying to sell the sadness. Right?
Yeah, not even the verbiage was that good. But I think that was done on purpose because Ace Steel came out and he goes, that's not what we talked about backstage. So I think that was done on purpose. I thought Ace Steel was tremendous. I've never even seen this guy, but I thought he was tremendous on the mic, showed great emotion, energized his former student, and then Punk went off, which I love. Punk with an edge. I like angry Punk. It makes better for TV. It makes for better TV. This was great. The only thing that I would have done, which I thought would have been great, remember when he started to go in through the crowd?
Uh-huh.
If he would have gone all the way to Moxley's dressing room, or Moxley met him halfway and they started fighting in the crowd, that place would have
erupted. Goes to the back looking for him.
Right.
And bro, and what if a bunch of crowd people and the fans are following him? And they come, and Moxley sees like, there you are, and they come and they start a brawl. They were like,
that would have been place would have fallen out of its. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think this was the whole thing was, bro, a lot of Punk's character is, and then the way AEW is booking him, and the way they're booking the shows, and where they're booking the shows. A lot of this is very regional. It's about Punk and being from Chicago and fighting in Chicago and like being in front of Chicago fans and stuff. And bro, I think this, like, if you just look at this from like a political standpoint, I think Punk, to try to invigorate himself, wanted to do this old school babyface comeback from the dead type thing in his hometown in front of his fans with the popular thing, and the way he sold it, like, to beat Mox in Chicago is like, bro, I'm gonna let you squash me on Dynamite, but let me do this, and this is the payoff and stuff and all that, which is fine. But I think from a political standpoint, I think there was a lot of politics going on behind the scenes to produce what they're trying to produce here, which is Punk beating Moxley in Chicago. And one of the deals is like, I got to give Moxley some good to talk about, to bury me and stuff like that. I'm going to let him squash me. Because Moxley's mic work has been excellent since he's beaten Punk, right? To create kind of like a heel thing to build up for this. But I still will say how they got to this, I'm still not a fan of, because like, there's still some little holes in the logic here of like, if your ankle was destroyed and everything. It's just like 7 days later is fine. And I don't know. I think that the thing about the ankle being hurt, I would have just because that was like kind of an excuse of why he lost, bro. I would, like you said, the surprise fact was the fact he beat him in 3 minutes. Punk should have done what Brock did with Goldberg. He should just let Moxley beat him clean with no doubt. But now the hurt ankle's kind of in there. But it would have been better if he just he squashed him in 3 minutes. And then come back and do this. So, but that'd be my only critique. But the mic work was very good on both these guys. But it had to be because the angle is kind of weak if you think about it. You know what I'm saying? So what do you think of that?
So let's go back to that because Billy just jumped on. If you don't mind,
I said okay. I have more time. Austin's woken up and he's not going back to bed. So it's okay.
Yeah, I just thought. Yeah, you can. We'll finish it and you can join in. Did you see AEW?
Give me 1 second.
I did.
Huh?
I did. Yeah.
So we loved the Moxley thing at the beginning. You know, we feel Daniel Garcia isn't ready for prime time. Didn't do good with Jericho backstage. Cass looked great. I have no idea why they keep using this guy Stokely Carmichael. I think he's underwhelmingly
Stokely Hathaway.
Whatever. You don't
even know the guy's name is. He's on TV every week, right?
He's brutal. Bro, that shows you how much interest I don't have. And it's nothing personal. He's just brutal. Don't get why they're pushing Sheeta and not Tony Storm. The Punk promo with Ace Steel was great. I thought Ace Steel, I never even heard of. I heard his name, but I didn't know who he was. Did a great job with the promo. And I think I love, I've said it a million times. I didn't like, aw shucks, I'm glad to be here. I love you too, Punk. But that's the energy they were giving him, I like this Punk. Edgy, not trying to be a heel, not trying to be a face. Moxley the same way, so I'm all into this. And now that's basically what I think of the show so far.
All right, so Billy, what do you got this week?
Yeah, what do you want me to do, news or AW?
Yeah, go ahead. We'll finish AW with him, Disco.
All right, cool.
Anything you want to say on any of the matches before we continue?
No, I haven't watched the Trios match. I think I stopped before then. I'm only up to the.
What do you think? Because here's me and Konnan. I had a criticism on the first segment. I loved Moxley's promo, but I'm not the only one that thought it was not a good look when he dropped the contact in the ring and said, "Anybody wants to come out and fight?" and nobody came out. I thought that was I would have, based on that, I would have booked it a million different ways. Like you could have Hangman Adam Page come out. Bro, you could have done
Well, that's who should have come out. That's who should have come out.
Right.
Hangman Adam Page.
Right.
But I was okay with Ace Steel because they explained it later.
Right. They did the angle later. But what did you think of it, Billy?
But you're in a weird situation because that's how Mick Foley decided who was going to be the 24/7 champion the first time when they unveiled it. Remember, he dropped it into the ring. And so
how Billy? Stop.
What? What's that?
Like we're going to remember that. You're more of a wrestling story than we are. Like, there's no way I would remember that. So it's like
this is your job, Glenn. Come on. I mean, that's what you don't want to. You don't want to associate an AEW title shot with the 24/7 belt. Like you don't want a load of.
Bro, nobody was thinking that. Come on.
Okay, but
It's a similar end, but this, I mean,
yeah, but what you're
the whole angle with Ace Steel coming out of the baby.
You're right, and they're right too for not doing it. I tell you, you're right because everybody should want that title shot, but they're right because if you have 20 guys coming out there and they're all fighting and the contracts just flip-flopping around, it looks like the 24/7 title.
No, bro,
what's the saddest? But I thought they could have just brought him out, brought Page out, bro. You could have brought him out.
The saddest part of everything, Billy, is Page, for better for worse, he got buried on TV. He's never come back to address that. He was their ex-champion that they were pushing to the moon, and now he's with the Dark Order. I mean, you talk about being put in a decompression chamber.
He's completely buried right now. He hadn't responded. He's with the Dark Order. It's like
right.
And he was a world champion. It's like you couldn't put him in a worse spot where he hasn't responded to any of this. He's like whatever. All right.
What was next?
Next was what was it?
I think it's a sit down with Christian and Jungle
Yeah, they went
Boy.
they went to a video to sit down with Christian and Jungle Boy, and Christian said he was going to embarrass him, make him a has-been at 25 years old. And Jungle Boy said his relationship with Christian felt very familiar. One time he loved him, but he's not sure if he ever loved him. He questioned whether he ever knew the real Christian, and Christian replied he never wanted to be his father figure. That was the real him. And the only reason his AEW is to make money. I love that when he talks about this. Is great. And JB said on Sunday that Christian wouldn't be facing Jungle Boy. He'd be facing a pissed-off Jack Perry. What did you think of this?
Who are you asking me?
I'm asking Konnan first.
Yeah, I thought this was a good sit-down because if you think 3 or 4 months ago we were dragging Jungle Boy for his inability to cut a good promo.
Right.
So this is good for him, and he's a cool kid, bro. Every time I've met him, he's always been cool, even after I've buried him.
Right. What do you think of Billy?
Yeah, I think this is a reoccurring theme through the show. I think they have a pay-per-view. It should not be in this position with 5 days to go before it happens. But I think throughout the show, I think what the consistent theme was is that there was a lot of damage control here. Like I'm more enthused to see these matches than I was. So I think the show in general done its job, and this sit down and the stuff with Punk and Moxley is all part of sort of the rehab of this pay-per-view, which was very underwhelming, very poorly booked all the way up into it, and then they needed to fix it, and I think they did a good job of fixing it. And this
I'll say this: this is one of their long stories that they're telling, threads. These guys are getting 1.5 to 2 minutes each week on TV, and it's good stuff. So it's like, I'm completely fine with this. I thought that was good. Christian. Here's the thing, and Billy, we were talking about this before, and tell me what your thoughts are on this. Is that when you watch Raw and you watch AEW and you watch SmackDown, the guys that are good actors, because there's a lot of backstage stuff, there's a lot of facial expressions, a lot of there's a lot of good acting, is that the bad actors are sticking out like a sore thumb. Mm-hmm. Because they're doing a lot of episodic storytelling now on all the shows, right? And it's like, I think Jungle Boy did decent for him here because he hasn't been good in backstage. He hasn't been a good actor. He hadn't been good convincing, but Christian's great. Like we said, earlier we were talking about the Jericho thing in the back with Daniel Garcia. It's Daniel Garcia is not a good actor. He comes out as very green, something. But but I thought that Jungle Boy
and one-dimensional.
I thought Jungle Boy did good in it.
Yes.
Because we've been giving him thumbs up or thumbs down. He's gotten way more thumbs down than thumbs up, but he's had some thumbs up, and this was a thumbs up. So the next thing didn't even be on the show. Wardlow and Dax and Cash against. Right,
that's the one I was alluding to, the women's match on Raw. This was totally unnecessary, and you're trying to get ratings, and you're competing with whatever you're competing with. This is a channel changer.
Right. So you're selling the pay-per-view. And if you're selling the pay-per-view by just having a squash match in 1 minute in a 6-man and showing one of the guys they're wrestling they're showing Sanjay backstage watching the monitor taking notes. That was the sell for this match. So it's I don't think – bro, it's kind of like that they're kind of – I wonder if they're kind of I don't know. Does Dax and Cash have heat with Tony and the Bucks and these guys?
Well, they got pulled from the video games.
They got pulled from the video game.
That's why. See, that's the thing that you don't know anymore, right? So they got pulled from the video game, and they were like, "Oh, we're cool. We'll be on the next one." But were they pulled for disciplinary reasons? You know what I'm saying?
Look at this spot. These guys' gimmick is okay, we're great wrestlers and stuff. Bro, this is 1 minute against a bunch of job guys. It wasn't really a match.
But I don't think so, bro. Because they still have the tag team championships, and they're still featured pretty prominently. I think this was a big mistake. They wanted to get a quick win, and to me, it's the show's kind of hot. You had the Moxley thing, you had the Punk thing. Jericho came out and rocked it. You know what I'm saying? Right. And then you put this.
Right.
Christian and Jungle Boy did a good job. I mean, this is not. People are changing channels during this. You don't want that. Yeah.
Perfect example, Tony, is we talked about on Monday. There's a difference. Okay. On Monday, we had a 6-man squash or 6-woman squash, right? But that's a 3-hour show. Bro, you can't put content like this on a 2-hour show. It's every minute is very valuable, especially for a go-home show. And it's I thought this is a waste. What did you think, Billy? Anything?
Yeah, no, I just zoned out for it. I knew what was going to happen. I was just waiting for the finish. I mean, sometimes you have stuff like this on it. I have more of a problem with the stuff like this that goes long. I have more of an issue. What they previously did is where they would give these guys stuff that seemed to be an obligation in terms of these nobodies this is not as bad as it was because previously
it's a correct squash. They squashed.
These guys would be getting offense, which really was annoying me. So.
All right, so next, Jon Moxley walks back to the ring. Said if CM Punk wants to go on a Shield in Chicago, then he can have his wish. He told Punk if he thinks he's got one more miracle left in you better find it fast because the minute the bell rings, he's going to take his head off. Moxley said he's going to put on a display of pro wrestling violence like CM Punk has never seen. He then claimed that that he would show people the difference between a fake messiah and the real deal on Sunday. Bro, Moxley, like I said, this angle to me, the way they did it,
right.
It's kind of lame, but the mic work had to be really good, and it was excellent on this, by everybody. Ace Steel, Punk, Moxley, they nailed everything. All right, so okay, Cody, you know how we love to talk about the awkward outs?
Right.
Okay, here's the next segment. Backstage, evil Uno, who sounds like a nerd. It sounds like
Right.
Why do they give him the mic? He sounds like a mark on like speaking like. Am I right? Like when
yes.
he's terrible. He said he would take Preston Vance's place in trios match because Preston Vance is hurt. Andrade walked up and offered Preston Vance a contract to work for him. Uno tried to intervene, but was beat with one of Vance's crutches for his trouble. And Jose fired off a stun gun to keep Vance from making any sudden moves. All right, now that I'm reading that description does not do it justice because he hit the guy. Okay, so they knock Evil Uno down, hit him with hit him with the crutch. They do the stun gun to Preston Vance, and literally within 2 to 3 seconds, they cut to the ring entrance of the next match, and they go, "Wow!" While the ring entrance for the next match is going on, they're like going, "Wow, he hit him with a stun gun." And so, like the announcers are trying to sell it, and they sell it for like 5 seconds, and then start talking about the ring entrance for the next match. When we have Brian James on the show, and we talk about like the production and stuff, everything. And we always talk about how they have awkward outs to their segments. It's like, dude, they just beat up a guy with a crutch and hit a guy with a stun gun. You go to the announcers or there's something to resonate there to where you actually can remember what happened. But they just like cut right. Okay, well, here's the next match. Did you get that same vibe, Konnan, when you watched this?
Yeah, and here's the other thing, bro. Has Andrade in any way, shape, or form been elevated?
No.
And it's ridiculous because Andrade... he gained so much weight, so much muscle that he doesn't move like he used to.
Right.
But like Jose, who I've talked to before, smart guy, and they could probably be doing a lot more with him. He adds absolutely nothing to Andrade. Right. He just holds a clipboard, right?
Right.
And bro, and
why do you a clipboard, right?
And it just seems like Andrade. I have a term I called walking you around the block.
Right.
Do you know what that means?
No. In wrestling, tell me.
Leading a guy through a match.
No.
Mm-hmm.
So in wrestling, you're always like, what do you have for me this week? Or what are we going to do next, right? So there are wrestlers that because you're paying them a lot or because they're stars or you don't want problems with them, you have to come up with angles for them, right? So a lot of times they'll come up what I call walking you around the block angle, where when the angle stops, you're back right where you began. You never get elevated, and it's just to shut you up. You know what I'm saying? So you can't say they're not doing nothing with me.
They're giving you content.
Like those 30-second vignettes that mean absolutely nothing, but you can't say you're not on TV because at least they're doing something.
Right.
And so that's what they've done with Andrade. This was brutal, bro. This was absolutely brutal, not interesting. Who wants to see them with the Dark Order? Who wants to see him by the Dark Order? You know what I'm saying? They've done a really bad job with him.
Right. So next is I didn't watch this. So I knew what it'd be like. Dante Martin against Wheeler Utah versus Ray Phoenix and Roosh. I like Roosh. I like some of these guys, but like, so let me see who went over because I didn't watch this. Oh, Wheeler Utah they put over?
Yeah.
Bro, they should put Roosh over. That's a guy that like his work sticks out like a sore thumb on this show because he looks more vicious and violent than like these other guys. Do you agree with that?
Bro, yeah, he definitely looks more physical, and he is more physical. And the other thing is that, when they announce everybody, the last guy is usually the biggest star. They brought Yuta out last, even before Phoenix. And Phoenix is definitely a bigger star than him internationally.
Right.
But anyway, they're going all in on Yuta, another guy with no charisma, and cool dude. But the same thing I say about Jose the assistant, and Stokely Carmichael, I say about Tony Khan's Latino cousin, Abraham Abrahantes. He goes out there looking very whack with a white glove and a black glove, like a male cheerleader. But at least he does something that Jose doesn't. He tries to work the crowd. Jose doesn't even work the crowd, and that's your job. That's your job as a manager, dude. And but he's out there like an over the top male cheerleader. Yeah.
Right. Let me ask you a question. If I was the agent for this match, okay, and I would tell the story here because it's a 4-way. I would tell the story that Ray Phoenix and Rush look at each other and say, "Hey, let's whoop these gringos," and like they form like and it kind of turns into, like the Mexican guys are going to all stick together when they're in matches like this and stuff and thinking like because they've been treated bad. Bro, you could do some storytelling here. Like they're disrespected and stuff, and they don't and Ray Phoenix and Rush kind of like decide, okay, we're gonna team and do double team moves on these guys and stuff. Everything. Did they do that at all this? Because I didn't watch it.
Well, no, they didn't do that. But the thing is, you got to remember. Do
you agree with them? If I was
the problem is Andrade already has a partner who's Rush, and Phoenix already has a partner who's Pentagon. And by the way, they're feuding. So
they are.
Yeah. So
that to me that would make it even more interesting.
So.
Because they say, we're the outsiders,
I'm not saying you couldn't make a cool LAX type group and put all 4 Latinos together because that would.
I'm not even saying a group. I'm just saying for a match. It's like you kind of like if you have these matches, that kind of foreigners kind of stick together because they maybe, and you can have like the Jose the thing like talk about thing like they try to keep us down here and stuff. And they surprise you can tell that story because it's something that people would believe. If it's in storytelling thing, I don't know. Yeah, whatever. Bill, you know anything about this?
No, this is the last thing I watched, by the way.
All right, cool.
Yeah, I watched everything up until...
That main event was great. I like lucha-centric matches, which this was. And I love when Omega and Ospreay were in there together. They were straight money. Great way to end the show. I thought in general this was a good show. There wasn't really any bad match. Obviously, the squash match was unnecessary, and Daniel Garcia's acting, needs help. But and I think that Sheeta's the wrong person to be pushed. It should be Tony. But other than that, it was not. I liked the show.
Right, I liked it too. I'm not a big fan of these matches. But when I watched this whole thing, this 6-man, this is something I would usually like fast forward through, right? There were, just me being critical. There were a few spots in here that the stuff I don't like. Like they did the thing where and somebody posted this on Twitter. Like they repeat. There was a spot in PWG with the Bucks and these guys and stuff and everything where they did the exact same spot with the Aussie Open where like Matt Jackson, they had the guy for the Meltzer driver. They go up to the top rope, and the other guy comes to the top rope time, and he hits it. Instead of jumping off, he catches the guy to cutter. All right, and he does cutter. Then the other guy they flip from the pile driver. Then Will Ospreay goes up. Bro, I'm like, I don't know. This is my only criticism. It's like I think Ospreay, if he like had psychology of like following the match to a more logical path. Instead of, because I think what he does is, like last week he did a thing where like, they do the Frankenstein, he lands on his feet. It's like the guy's trying to show like, I can do this because I can do moves because I can. So he goes over the top and does a moonsault backwards singing to the butt, and he hits the guy right in the, like, it looks like he could have broken his neck, right? Like if you watch that spot, it was very dangerous for what they were trying to attempt. Like he could have just jumped up on the top rope, come down and just jumped straight down and grabbed the guy's legs and pile driven him. But instead he had to do a flip backwards because I can. And like when he does stuff like that, it's like I'm watching. It's like, dude, like you do too much of that. It's like your work, your other work is very solid and it looks good, but you just do a lot of flips and acrobatics and something to show people I can. And it's like I don't think he needs to do as much of it as he does. Maybe one time during a match or something, but bro, the guy just adds a lot of like. Bro,
you can't tell a young, very athletic guy who that style got him to where he is not to continue to do it, because that would be like telling a young mare not to run or a young stud. Horses run. eagles fly, and he's going to do that because he's young and he can do it. He ain't going to be doing this in 15 years.
I agree with that. Okay, and I understand you're thinking like these younger guys are kind of hungry like that.
Right, you can't tell him, and he likes the video game match.
But I will say this: you want to tell a guy like Will Ospreay, dude, if you want to be the best in this business, if you want to like elevate yourself, like you're a guy that people look at as like you're a great work. The deal is right now who's the best worker in the business, Kenny Omega or Will Ospreay? Like when he was in New Japan, everything, right? But bro, the WWE is still the gold standard for professional wrestling. And if you want to go and work in the WWE and work on top, you're not going to do these spots with Roman Reigns. You're not going to do these spots with Randy Orton. You're not going to do spots like this. You're not going to do these spots in matches for prominent matches. They're just not going to do that with you. They're going to tell you that doesn't make sense. And my thing is like, there's this fan base now that like embraces this type of stuff and like this stuff. But bro, it's like I'm telling you, it's like you're on the show that's drawing half the fans is WWE, and like WWE, they don't do this stuff just for the sake of like showing everybody we can. But bro, look how neutered Ricochet has become. He learned to work more, sell, punch, but he doesn't do like all the cartwheels and flips and land on your feet as much of it. He does them once every blue moon. And it's like, he does a moonsault. He does it, but like that's the basic stuff. But it's like, bro, this guy's got to just tone down the stuff to like, hey, I'm going to show you how acrobatic I am, and I'm going to do these moves like, because you're still in a combat sport, and it doesn't make sense a lot of the stuff you're doing in the realm of like the concept of a fight. And that would be my only criticism, because the stuff looks good, but I just think he tries to do too much of the cartwheels, flips, and land on your feet, and stuff. I don't know. I just, what do you think of that?
Well, I just think that, I like Ricochet's old school style of flying around. I don't like this toned down style. And I think when I've seen him go against guys that can base him for that, like AJ Styles, he's had the different type of match. As far as Will Ospreay, what's going to happen is the same thing that happened with Rey Mysterio. When Rey came to the United States, just like me, we had to be deprogrammed. I didn't know American wrestling. I only knew Lucha Libre. And we got deprogrammed, and we learned the American sound. That'll happen with Ospreay. He'll have to be deprogrammed and learn the WWE main event style, and I'm sure he'll pick it up quick.